Hello, I'm Ashy. Today I have with me Wa,
Hello.
and I also have Dez.
Hi.
Oh, you
So,
sound a lot chirpier than us two.
what?
Yeah.
Des
Anyways,
sounds a lot chirpier than us two.
shit, you're right. Get chirpier, Wa. Go.
Fuck you. Absolutely not.
So last week we did a brief overview of base classes, and now I'm gonna cover some real powerhouses. The hybrid classes are essentially two classes that were fused together. They tend to take the best parts of their parent classes, and in some cases they trim the fat.
Yeah, we've discovered that if you have a party of hybrid classes, you're probably winning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're very good.
so we'll start off strong with the Arcanist. It's a hybrid of
This is you,
Sorcerer and
Des.
Wizard, and they have the slow BAB and that D6 hit die. They also have the 9th level spells. And they have this split between prepared and spontaneous casts, in that they prepare from a list of spells that they know, having a spell book, and then they cast spontaneously, kind of like a wizard from 5e. They also gain a lot of class features, unlike the wizard.
Wait.
I think it's a few.
Wait, are we about to say that how the wizard works in 5th edition is actually an improvement to 3.x wizards? Because while I might agree with you, it's a bit heretical.
It depends on your viewpoint. They have to select a specific number of spells based on their intelligence or something, rather than getting spells of every level just cause. But they get to cast spells from that set spontaneously.
Okay.
But yeah, the Arcanist. Oh man, I love this class. It's definitely my favorite arcane class.
It's a good one.
It's
absolutely.
like I said,
an improvement.
dimensional slide. Dimensional slide.
Dimensional slide's a little bit busted.
Let's also not forget that this is the only class in the game that basically makes counterspelling viable.
God,
True,
yeah.
you can immediate action that shit. Honorable mention to Brownfur Transmuter archetype that can put personal range spells on other people. Like, you can drop Tensor's Transformation on something that's not you. That could be a much better use of it.
Transmuter it's a little bit silly.
I mean, the Occultist is pretty silly too, giving you access to the Summoner's, summon kit.
Arcanist is really good!
Oh, and if you really want to, go White Mage and you can take over as Pseudo-Healer, they can... Yeah. Arcanist, really good.
Arcanist good.
So what's the ideal combo? An Arcanist in the team and a Slayer on the team?
I don't
Basically
know.
a full party? Just you two?
Close. Probably not quite, but close. So, the Blood Rager. It's next up. It's my personal favorite. It's a hybrid barbarian sorcerer. It's got a
The
supernatural...
DM only likes it because it lets you go Dragon Bloodline and turn into a dragon. That's it. There's nothing else.
Okay, that's not the only reason why. You are oversimplifying it quite a lot. So I will say...
I'm calling you a dragon fetishist.
I do like dragons. Dragons are pretty cool. Dragon Bloodline's pretty cool. It does let you be a dragon.
So
Moving
anyway, Demonic Bloodline. Gives you really big claws.
It does give you big claws. You can enlarge with it, yeah.
And it's not a dragon. Which is
It's
always a plus point.
it's a good... It's also a good bloodline. But, anyways, they've got that supernatural field rage, makes them as good as Barbarian at beating things senseless, and they have that full BAB to beat them with. They do have a D10 hit die, which means they are a bit squishier than their Barbarian parent. But, the list of bloodlines and their partial spellcasting list does, help to patch that right back up. Oh, and, they do get some mitigation tools. Like, they can get access to some Barbarian Rage powers. They get some free DR. There's also an archetype that gives them fast healing instead of DR, and lets them eat their spells for more healing.
I think one of the biggest things is that you're a barbarian. You're raging. You get to turn into a dragon at some point, which makes you big, and your AC is in the shit up. But you don't get a spell list which has mirror image on it.
Mirror image is great.
It's surprisingly hard to actually put down.
Windy Escape is very nice when you get hit by one of those sneak attacks or criticals and just want to nope it.
Yeah.
True.
You don't happen to have your uncanny dodge because you traded off for an archetype. You can just nope a sneak attack, or just nope a crit. The DR10 magic is nice early as well. It falls off late though. But noping crits, always good. Let's put a rest in peace for what is it? The Jingasa?
Oh, the Jingasa, the nerfed hat with the same price tag. So, if you ever go look at these nice items or these strange items that are all being complained about being nerfed, the Jingasa of the Fortunate Soldier, the weapon cord, I'd advise your DMs, or if you're a DM, just undo all of those nerfs. Paizo in the later years have got no fucking clue what they're doing.
Anyways, enough bullying Paizo and the Jingasa.
Wait, hold on, let's have a look at Juju Oracle as well. You know, where they've got 3 variations of it and none of them are as good as the good one. Because they don't know what to fucking do with it. Anyway, let's move on.
So the Brawler, it's a hybrid monk fighter. They've got full BAB, they've got a D10 hit die, they can fight like a monk with the impunity of a fighter, and
They could become the Iron Caster.
they can become the Iron Caster. They can change up their feats on the fly to whatever toolkit they need in a situation, as long as they're combat feats. They're also limited to light armor, so they might have a little less durability than your average fighter, though.
Honestly, I've never played a brawler, so I don't have much to say about them. But there is a funny archetype that can let you play Captain America.
True.
There's a shield brawler?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
Oh.
Shield champion. You actually throw the shield and punch people. You're actually just Captain America.
Also, because like the Brawler has that one class feature that's basically aesthetic style, but for close weapons. You can take some of those less beloved weapons, or weapons that could almost be good, and pretend you're a warp priest a little bit, and make them decent again.
That works with the brawler's body wraps, doesn't it?
Are you talking about the body wraps of Mighty Strikes?
Or the hand wraps.
I am.
Oh.
I believe the body wraps of Mighty Strikes clarifies unarmed or
Okay.
natural weapons, like claws specifically.
Right, but if it's using the ascetic style ruling, does it transfer across?
I don't know. That said, why would you need the body wraps if you could just have a magic weapon? It'd probably be cheaper to just enchant your weapons.
Look, there's something... The brawling enchantment is what I'm thinking of.
Oh.
I'm thinking about brawling.
Fair enough.
So, for everyone listening, the wearer of the brawling armor gains a +2 bonus on unarmed attack and damage rolls, including combat maneuver checks. Hold on.
I don't think you'd put that on your body wraps anyways. It sounds like it's an armored enchantment.
Anyway.
Yeah. Alright, let's move on to the Hunter then. It's a hybrid druid and ranger. And
I really like the Hunter.
Is that because it's an improvement to Ranger in almost every way?
It is a ranger, but better. They're a bit better on the melee front. They don't get their wild shape. They get their animal companion of choice. And they also get some semi-permanent buffs to distribute to themselves into their animal companion as raw stats, for the most part. One of the biggest things is that whenever they get a teamwork feat, they automatically grant that teamwork feat to their companion. Which means as a melee pair between, say, whatever with a two-handed weapon, and your warcats, your dinosaurs, an actual two-man wrecking ball that will very easily be able to ping-pong off each other, Then an honourable mention to the boons from Eristil, the divine boons, the obediences, because one of the tier 3 ones lets you create a identical copy for a duration of your animal companion, which will have all of said teamwork feats.
But,
So, a hunter with a prestige into the evangelist that worships Eristil, you're not losing much, but you're gaining game warping amounts of raw power when you need it.
Yes. The Evangelist, a prestige class we'll talk about one day, and probably one of the most broken classes in the game.
Yeah.
It's
Evangelist.
absolutely broken.
Go look it up. It's broken. It's amazing.
I'm gonna say, yeah, they're built around supporting their animal companion. Teamwork feats absolutely help them get into the fray with them if that's what they want to do. They have a D8 hit die, they've got a medium BAB, and they're half casters. So, on top of giving off all them teamwork feats and some class buffs, they can also just buff up their animal companion as if they were a druid. Speaking of which, that's where they're pulling their list from. It's pulled from a combination of druid and ranger, which means they get some of their spells for cheaper, as far as the level is concerned.
Yeah, there's just not much reason to play a ranger. Because if you're going to go into ranger for the styles, then you go slayer, which we will be talking about.
Yeah, and if you're wanting to support an animal companion and you're not wanting to play a druid for some reason, you don't have to play a ranger either. Because
I mean,
hunter is probably one of the better pet classes.
Well, the ranger's also got the -3 from your total level, so you've got a weaker companion with a limited list.
Yeah, you can fix that with
the hunter has got no such limitations.
Nope.
It's dinosaurs all the way down.
Yeah, if you're a team like you use Megafauna.
You know,
yeah.
Ranger really could have used an Unchained.
It really could have, I agree.
Ranger could use its animal companion being switched to how the druids functions, and that solves most of its issues.
It does help a bit.
True. Instead of being a flank bot that's going to die every fight, it actually becomes useful.
Okay, so hear me out. Horizon Walker, because you can still do the OP thing with Ranger. We'll talk about that another time, though.
Yeah.
Alright. So,
I just honestly object to us giving any credit whatsoever to the Ranger.
That's Horizon
It should not
Walker.
exist.
Okay, but I'll give Ranger more credit than the freaking Vampire Hunter.
So Ranger shouldn't exist. Do we let Vampire Hunter out of the thing because at least it's got its niche purpose? And we'll put the Ranger in the
okay,
closet.
Fine. We are letting the Vampire Hunter out of the dungeon.
Don't let the Vampire Hunter out.
And the Ranger is going in it.
No, don't let the Vampire Hunter out.
I'm sorry, but we only have one cell. We have exactly space for one prisoner.
And you can't put a rogue in there.
No, they just get out. And Unchained Rogue exists, so it's like...
Alright.
Anyway.
So, we'll move on to the Investigator. So Investigator is a hybrid alchemist and rogue. They're decent skill monkeys because they're intelligence reliant, they've got good skill points, and they can boost their skill checks with some of their abilities. Or they can use that ability to boost their attack rolls or their saving throws. They also get extracts like an alchemist. And they have a studied buff that gives them a bonus to hit and damage, and they can expend it to get a hefty boost to damage from studied strike, which has scaling that very closely resembles sneak attack, with some reduced frequency on it.
I'll be honest, I've never played one, I haven't looked too closely at it, so I don't really have opinions on the Investigator. I've seen it, but that's about it.
It's pretty Sherlock Holmes. You know, if Sherlock Holmes also mixed his own brews of potions and chugged them.
I mean, he kind of did, but it was usually cocaine.
You know what? Maybe that's what investigators are powered on, cocaine. Elementary, my dear Watson.
You take a big snorf, punch someone, and just say, discombobulate.
Shit. So what you're saying is
Shit,
they cast
maybe
fists.
they are. They are modern Sherlock Holmes. Fuck.
I mean, that's kind of
that's
the idea behind them, yeah. They're basically Sherlock Holmes.
I mean, I never really made that link, but now you mention it.
They're pretty decent. I saw one played once and it was pretty good. Managed to get a pretty high AC and used respectable weapons. Dealt pretty good damage. Could get sudden bursts of
It
damage
was
out.
AC in the 30s and an Elven Curve Blade, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. You know, any 3.5 players, and yeah. Was Elven Curve Blade a 3.5 thing? I'm pretty sure it was.
No clue.
I'm sure it was a meme.
I think it was the Elven Longblade in 3.5, but basically the same thing. It was just a stupidly long rapier in 3.5.
Yeah, it was just a stupidly long fucking. It was just a crit. It was just a crit greatsword. Okay, we know what we're all talking about.
Yeah.
Where's my tea? Oh no, it's cold.
Fantastic. Oh, your tea is cold. I guess that's
cold.
the end
I'm
of your
still
life
gonna drink it.
as a Brit.
No, yep, I've got to drink it. Wow. Disgusting.
Mmm, delicious.
Anyway, I won't make everybody suffer listening to me suffer. I'll save my cold tea for when we're done. That's
Oh,
annoying.
classic.
What are we up to? What are we doing
What's up next? I'm glad you asked. It's Shaman, the hybrid Oracle and Witch.
Alright, well, I'm currently playing a shaman. It's a serendipity shaman. One of the big things about the shamans is you've got so many tools between your hexes, your full casting, your D8 hit dice, and your medium bab that you're never running out of resources. You're just not. Every day you can switch your secondary spirit to get some buffs and some hexes that can actually make you decent in melee. There's just so many things you can do. Although I do recommend the Serendipity Shaman because you can do things like Tweak the Odds, which is a hex which lets you pick up a dice and change the natural number on it. So when it says change the dice's value by +1, it doesn't mean give +1 to that result. As an immediate action, you physically change the number on the dice. Which means you can force crits.
Oh man, I think the biggest problem that you currently have is just not enough immediate actions.
Yeah, we've ended up in a situation where I'm needing to use the spell Imbue Hex to give my familiar a good chunk of my hexes that require immediate actions between us, so at least I can have 2 immediate actions a turn. Because the Serendipity Shaman, at least with how I'm playing it between the human Bestow Luck, immediate action Tweak the Odds, Divine Interference, immediate action Force Rerolls, the Shears of Fate, immediate action rerolls, I don't have enough actions to do all the rerolls I want to do. On top of that, a little tip is be a Pharasma Worshipper so you can get Channel Fate, or Fateful Channel, because anyone affected by your channel energy from the Life Spirit gets to bank a reroll that will stick around for your Charisma bonus in rounds. On top of the Channel Luck natural bonus that it gives you in exchange for half healing, you can generally at the beginning or midpoint of combat do a channel, you've got selective channel, and your entire party has bank rerolls and plus whatever to whatever roll they want, whenever they want. The nice thing is that once you've used that reroll, you don't have to take the reroll result. You take whichever one is the higher result.
Yeah, it gives advantage in a system that doesn't have advantage.
Serendipity Shaman might not be the best fighter. It is a very competent healer, but it is by far the best. It is by far the best support. Very specifically because it acts outside the bounds of what you expect a support to do. And because it's a shaman, it's very good at preventative. You've got protective luck, which gives things disadvantage to hit for basically forever if you upkeep it. It doesn't get drop off if they swing. It just sticks around. So there's crit protection. There's a Shell of Succor, which is a temporary HP shield. You are the king of preventative measures, and making a DM ask the question, "When is it my fucking go?"
Well, buddy.
Yeah?
I just want to do a quick overview on the shaman. You didn't need to explain Jack out.
Anyway, that's one of the things a shaman can do.
Well, now I want to go back to Arcanist and talk about Amala.
Oh no.
You had your chance!
So, they're a wisdom-based caster. They gain a spirit, which is kind of like a domain or a patron. And they get access to hexes, kind of like a witch. I can say witch now, right? Because they exist again?
Yeah,
Good.
they exist again. We allowed it.
They also have medium BAB, a D8 hit die, and they get to 9th level spells.
Hey, you forgot to write about their familiar in this script.
Oh yeah, they get a
Well,
familiar.
Yeah,
They're
because
familiar-
that's how they restore their spells.
Yeah.
They don't have a spell book. They have to do an Ooga jig with their familiar. Familiar, standard shit. They can deliver touch hexes and touch spells, share spell, blah blah.
That
Maybe
does
you
give you
know,
the
that was-
disadvantage that your spell book, air quotes, can be murdered.
It happens now and then. The fireball might kill your familiar, so having a guardian archetype, so they have the same hit points as you do, might be a good idea.
Also,
Or
you have
just
to
ask
be,
your DM. You can free action eat your familiar like a football. Get it out of fireball range.
True. I mean, if I'm going to be eating it, it's going to be bird railgun touch spells.
you know, I've not heard of yeeting your familiar as a free action. It is a little bit funny.
What do you mean you can eat them as a free action?
It's what I said. Ask your DM if you can eat your familiar as a free
Ah.
action to get it out of fireball range.
Wait, I thought that was an actual thing, and I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me about this before? That would be very useful.
No, it's not an actual thing.
It's not a thing.
Damn! I was almost excited.
I know, buddy, I know.
Motherfucker!
Besides, you wouldn't have the immediate action anyway.
Oh,
You
it's
would
true.
not.
I use them all.
Anyways. So, next class on this list. Skald. It's
Oh, God,
hybrid
we're-
bard and barbarian. They more closely resemble a bard with their group hug tactics from their Raging Song, their D8 hit die, their medium BAB, and they have half casting.
I like the idea of a Skald. He's an angry melee bard whose song induces rage, and it gives rage bonuses. It's the emotional effect. It does stop things being able to do complicated thought processes like casting for the most part. It is why it's thematically really good as your angry Viking. It's a Skald. You've got you shout encouragement and whip everybody up into a frenzy. Unfortunately, half the classes do not want to be in that frenzy.
Yeah, when
That's true.
you're handing out buffs to the party and like most of your party wants to be, nah fam, I don't want that buff, you might need to rethink. The good news is you can choose not to accept said rage.
You can, but unlike a bard, your actual group effectiveness, your group hug, is not particularly effective when there's only one other person who stood beside you who's going, yeah, let's go. And the wizard and the cleric and the druid are like, no, not quite now.
When that one
Yeah.
other person happens to be the druid's animal companion.
Oh, that's true. They'd love it. The biggest kicker about all this is the Skald's Vigor feats, which gives fast healing based on the bonuses you're getting. So people are actively denying this buff and, regeneration. Because it's going to turn off their ability to cast or do anything delicate.
I mean, I'm gonna be entirely honest. Amala being whipped up into a frenzy just to get a little bit of healing. If she's that hard off, I'm pretty sure she's dead.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, if your mage is that close to dead that they're willing to accept rage just to get the pittance of healing.
The base form of it is an unfortunately self-defeating class with everything going for it, and it is so sad.
There are definitely
Yeah, those-
parties that benefit from it, though.
So tragic. I mean, yeah, if you're on a melee-heavy, potion-fueled, drug-fueled adventure with no real casters to speak of, take a Skald. They'll all love it. And
It's
it'll
a
be
melee
Let's be
hilarious.
fair. In our current group, if we had a Skald, it would be pretty great, but our group is also stupidly massive. half
Sure.
of our group could refuse it. We'd still have the equivalent of a group raging.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about a regular party, not a
Leadership is a hell of a
9-man
drug.
monstrosity. Yeah, leadership and animal companions all the way down. Ugh.
Cute
Okay.
idea, terrible class.
I think it's pretty
I don't
good.
think here's the thing.
think
It's not a terrible class. It just self defeats because of.
It's,
Oh god, this is where we're going into the
less-
systematic issue where half casters and casters tend to be the go-to because they're so fucking powerful, which don't want that bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, fuck.
There's so many.
Let's
classes
move on
that
before I
would
get
review it.
depressed.
But I want. There's a little bit more I want to talk about.
Fine, I'll
Go
just
for
be
it.
sad.
Okay. So their raging song, because it gives them rage bonuses, means they get more hit points. The increase in strength and the extra hit points helps them step up on the front line. They get access to rage powers that they can distribute amongst the party that accepts their boons. They get damage reduction. So they do have tools that can allow them to step up and fight quite a bit better than your average bard can.
Oh yeah, they're the angriest bard. They're a barbarian, if you will.
Also, if you wanna see some funny shit, take Celestial Totem on them. And then distribute that to your party.
Ah. Yeah, Celestial Totem, whenever you receive healing, increases the healing you get by your hit dice. Which means that fast healing from +4 strength goes from 4 fast healing to fast healing 20 if you hit level 16, you know, that sort of idea. Yeah, no, that's essentially a really good combo. I didn't think of that.
With access
I'm less
to,
sad about Scals now.
with access to the Bard spell list, some extra healing, they can provide the healing themselves to others as well. They still kind of a support-oriented spell list, though.
Yeah, but the thing is, like when you hit the War Priest, they're also on the supporty cleric side, but they can still be very selfish with their spell list.
War Priests cheat. We'll get into that.
We'll get into the cheaty War Priest.
For next, we'll talk about the Slayer.
Oof.
The Slayer is the hybrid rogue ranger, and it is the source of my trimming the fat comment. They have perhaps some of the best parts of Ranger, with Rogue replacing the worst parts of Ranger. They have staggered sneak attack, their studied target bonuses, like, give them hit and damage, and they're not reliant on terrain, they're not reliant on creature type. They do lose out on having a spell list.
Okay, they lose out on having a spell list. However, you can literally follow the Slayer talents down into Ranger styles. You can follow your Slayer talents down into Rogue talents, Ninja tricks, and because you are chaining these different tables together, you can chain the table down into getting general feats and combat feats. So the Human Slayer that gets 2 Slayer talents at level 6, and every 6 levels, you end up, if you want to go that route, with more feats than a fighter. They're on a D10, the full BAB. It is actually the perfect martial class to do basically anything.
Let's not forget, too, that at level 10, they can pick up Assassinate, which makes them automatically better than the Assassin Prestige class in its entirety.
Yeah. We could bully the Assassin Prestige class another time, though.
Yes,
It deserves it.
but
This is not really a bullying, it's just saying that if you're a Slayer, you are basically 3 big meta builds in a trench coat. It's like, okay, you can go sneaky, you can go sword and board, you can go whole hog on 2 weapon fighting shield master. You are tanky melee DPS.
hell,
If you go
can even-
dimensional dervish feats with flickering step, you're hyper mobile. There is nothing you cannot do.
I
And
think
let's
I like
also not
Slayers.
forget, you can absolutely go, like, ranged. They
Yeah, you
make
can.
very good ranged fighters.
Oh
They
yeah,
absolutely
they do.
can.
They will absolutely demolish everything with a longbow. I think the only thing that does actually range better than them might be a fighter with the one that does bows very specifically, or a Zen Archer monk. But Zen Archer monks are also just disgusting.
I'm pretty sure
That's
Zen
the thing.
Archer
Yeah.
monks are also just quantity when it comes to arrows because of,
Well, there's
Yeah.
the whole error still thing you can do as well, where you get your wisdom bonus to hit and damage with bows. You're sort of mega dipping. because you can get your dex and then your wisdom. There's things you can do with a Zen Archer that
Dex,
is going to
wisdom,
make it a
strength.
force. Yeah. Slayers, they're really good. I recommend them.
I think somehow we managed to fail to mention that they also have some of their own unique Slayer talents tossed into all that
Yeah,
mess
they
of Ranger
do.
styles, rogue
Oh, yeah,
talents,
yeah.
ninja tricks.
But let's be fair, most of the stuff that they gave them that was, like, unique kinda wasn't that great, when most of the time it's like, oh, yeah, but those Ranger styles.
I was going to say,
Probably-
you're going to Ranger Styles. There's
I took
Armored
the-
Juggernaut and Armored Swiftness that lets you just zoom in full plate.
Scoop.
Yeah.
Those two are pretty nice.
Lets you steal fighters'
Especially
shit as being
when-
the best in armor.
Yeah, once a mage slaps you with haste and you're suddenly, like, zooming around the battlefield at a speed that no heavily armored person should.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have 50 AC and move at 80 feet around. Why? Because I used Slayer's Advance. Get fucked.
Like, just getting hit by a train.
Kinda getting hit by a train.
What a good class. What a broken OP power crept into Oblivion class. They're so good.
He really likes his Slayers.
Yeah.
Alright, so I think we've faffed about Slayer enough.
Okay.
Y'all agree?
Yeah.
Did you say no there, Wah?
No, I said yes.
Okay. It was kind of whispered.
I'm not that deranged.
You sure?
Qualifier, bat. Swashbuckler. It's
Oh,
a
I love
hybrid
this
of
one too.
Fighter and gunslinger. Rather than fighting at a range, they tend to fight up close and with finesse, and unlike a fighter and a gunslinger and other martials, they rely less on their AC and more on their ability to just parry attacks. You know, the ones that they can't dodge. That's saying they can't have high AC, but they're limited to light armor if they want their full benefits. They can also deal respectable damage with their precise strike, and get free critical focus on light and one-handed piercing weapons. So, begging for a rapier for that wide crit range, which in turn fuels a resource pool that they use to parry. You know, among their other tricks.
Oh, I love the swashbuckler. Like, honestly, it's probably my fourth favorite class.
So we've finally reached the realms of where we're discussing the top 5 opposed to just the top favorite.
I mean, I've already said my top 3 in like 2 videos ago, so.
Yeah.
Fair. I think it's
But
become really obvious what my favorites might be.
The hybrids.
Alchemist, Unchained Monk, and Slayer. Maybe not in that order.
Wait, Shaman?
Is that in your top 3?
No, top 5.
Oh, top
I
5.
don't know. Maybe Serendipity Shaman might occupy top 3 because it's just so fucking stupid.
Shaman, top 5. Serendipity, top 3.
Yes, exactly. There we go.
Alright, maybe we should draw back to the Swashbuckler if you guys have anything else to say about it. The D10,
Oh,
I haven't really played them.
it died, the full BAB, and
Honestly, like, I do love them because they, like, if you can get them remotely mobile, they are very great. But as the leadership cohort I currently have in game, her design is to actually protect the person beside her more than protecting, like, and it works wonders when you're literally batting away everything that's fired in your direction.
I suppose one notable thing is that they're really begging for combat reflexes.
they are.
Oh, absolutely. Like, it's the class that you look at it and go, like, why didn't it get that as part of its standard kit? It wants it so bad.
It's
I think
basically
this
like
might
a
be a
required
situ-
feat.
It might be a situation where they were trying not to really overload it, you know, like they did with Slayer.
Looks at all the stuff that it gets for free that's just fucking, like, the I don't even remember what they're called, the panache deeds, that's it. Oh yeah, you just get your level as extra precision damage added on top. You get
True,
Oh,
they do
yeah.
actually have HD scaling built in, which is very rare.
at this
Pretty good.
level. Yeah, now as long as you have a panache point, you just have uncanny dodge and all that shit. It's like, oh, okay, and evasion.
At level 11, they get to just inflict stat bleed for free. Basically.
Yeah, just free stat bleed. Spend a
Funnily
point
enough,
bleed.
I think we're basically saying that the Swashbuckler might actually be the best class Pathfinder actually has for a class fantasy.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
there's a good chance of
I
it. It's
think-
pretty good.
I
And
think
to
as
be-
far as actual, just straight up class fantasy goes, being the swashbuckling, dexterous, parry, riposte, haha, can't touch me type, it might be the best.
It does
And-
fulfill its fantasy very, very, very cozily.
and what's really good about it is like it's very good at those little one-on-one sword fights that you always see in the fantasy movies.
So
This
you're not
is the
losing
type-
a duel.
Yeah, this is the type of person that you would challenge the BBEG to a one-on-one sword fight, and as long as they don't pull out some bullshit and just fight you with a sword, you probably can win.
I mean, it could be an Aldori Swordlord mashup. You might meet your match with that particular prestige if they're built right.
Or a
Then again, I
duelist.
suppose it depends who runs out of swords after being disarmed repeatedly. Who's carrying the most backups?
I mean, okay, so if you give the Swashbuckler a backup spiked gauntlet, that can't be
Yeah,
disarmed.
True,
And it deals piercing damage.
it does. Alright, so that's how you win. If you're playing a swashbuckler, have your spike gauntlet. If you don't want to be disarmed, maybe a locking one.
Watch his sword fly across room. Starts to punch.
Pummels.
Oh, and a fun thing is, I'm pretty sure if I recall right, the parry does not actually require you to use your rapier. So if you do have combat reflexes where you can't really be caught by surprise, you absolutely can parry those incoming attacks from those rogues.
Yeah.
Swords not out, but slap them away with your hand.
That's true, isn't it?
Or just
Yes.
walk around like a psychopath with your weapon out all the time.
Well,
I mean, I think a lot of adventurers do, in fact, do that.
to be fair, if you're a normal swashbuckler, you're basically fine because you'd have your weapon finesse on your hands. It's just my swashbuckler that's a little weird because she went with the one that focuses so much on the rapier that they don't get it for everything. It's just rapier.
Yeah.
There is that.
Pairing with your spiked gauntlet.
Where are we going next?
Oh, next? We're reaching the bottom of the list at War Priest. It's last but not least, for sure. It's a
I do
hybrid
like
cleric and
Priest.
fighter. It's got a D8 hit die, it's got a medium BAB, it's a half caster, and it's kind of similar to Inquisitors and Magi in that they want to get in and they want to mess someone up. They typically pick a weapon to favor like a fighter and then upgrade its damage dice, ignoring whatever it is that the weapon would naturally have. Because
Yeah.
chances are, War Priest progression is going to be bigger. They can use
One of the
their-
nicest things that they do have is the ability to swift action use their Divine Fervor, one of their class abilities, to apply any of their touch-based spells to themselves without their standard action that you normally would do to cast on someone else. They are a very selfish caster with their buffs, but they're very good for it.
I was about to touch on that.
I'm gonna be honest. I think my favorite part about the War Priest, and call me a fucking like nerd, but is the fact that this class is absolutely the one that you pick if you want to play a Belmont, because this will improve the whip damage. It gives you all the holy power you need.
You nerd.
Absolutely,
Love
So
it.
Trevor Belmont is in fact a War Priest.
pretty much yes.
I wonder
I
who would
see.
be devoted to.
I mean, they also get the fighter feats, which works very well. So
True.
True, they
They
do
count
get
as a
bonus feats.
Like, they basically count as a fighter, and for their bonus feats, they don't consider their, like, medium BAB, they instead count as having full. Which does
Yup.
funny things with Evangelists, as it turns out. Evangelists will come up a lot in the future.
Evangelist is going to come up a lot because okay, a quick rundown. You prestige into Evangelist. Evangelist, as it levels up outside of the first level, will take a hold of your original class it's tied to and drag it up with it.
yeah, basically you end off with just like missing one level. You lose your capstone.
Mhm.
And in the case of being a war priest, because your level equals... Your level basically becomes your BAB. You end up double dipping because you get the BAB from the class, and you also get a BAB from counting as War Priest. And it just does weird things.
Oh shit, you do! Does that give it above... Does that give it full BAB effectively then?
Not for the purpose of attacking and fighting, just for the purpose of feats. It means that they can cheat into things like Vital Strike and other such things much earlier than normal.
Yeah, that's actually a big thing for some Vital Strike throwing build with Startos style. I'm having thoughts about this.
Oh no. You having thoughts is never safe.
It really isn't.
I mean, you could also consider going Gorham and doing greatsword things. Like Vital Striking at the end of a charge, which isn't something normally you can do. Because Divine Fighting Styles.
I mean, that's true. Well, Divine Fighting Styles is an entire video by themselves.
Absolutely.
But your favored weapon scaling is not really going to out... You're not getting much use out of that, though.
Not at first, no. You'll eventually outscale it, but it takes a while.
Like, isn't the trick to get something small, light, and concealable and abuse the hell out of it?
That is a trick you can definitely use.
I suppose you don't have to, do you? Especially if you're doing something else entirely. Anyway, War Priest. Good. A bit jank. Can cheat a lot.
Yep.
You're gonna hear... You basically might have figured out that that's kind of the whole thing about hybrid classes. They can kind of cheat. They're kind of jank.
They're just good.
They are. I mean, realistically, as soon as your DM gives you the okay to use the hybrid classes, there's very few reasons to go with other classes unless you're doing things specifically, or you're picking those classes because they have things that the hybrid classes just didn't have.
Yeah, you're doing core classes and base classes for their archetypes at that point. You're not playing them for the base class. If you were ever going to be a base fighter, you're actually a Slayer. There's no point.
Yeah, I have a hard time arguing with that as a DM. Though, as a DM I will say, your DM might just outlaw the hybrid classes because they are notoriously more powerful.
Okay, there is a point because you're building a character, and the character and the roleplay and what they are and what they do is more important than the actual raw stats, raw numbers of a thing. But from a purely mechanical standpoint, there is no reason to use a core class or a base class.
Yourself a ranger would actually be a slayer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's alchemist. There's unchained monks. There's a couple of things that nothing else does quite like them.
Well, that's why I said
fighter, rogue. There's a case for druids, but again, you're an archetype for that.
Let's be fair, rogue kind of got its ass replaced by unchained rogue in the end anyway.
True.
There is almost no reason to go basic rogue anymore.
No, there isn't.
Oh, quick note for War Priest, real quick.
Oh.
The Fervor mechanic, which is the one that lets you swift cast your spells on yourself, can also be used to heal you, which could be nice for in-combat healing, but you probably want it for your buffs.
Doesn't it also let you, like, channel energy, too?
You can channel.
You can group heal, too. Like, Fervor is so multi-purpose. Oh,
yeah.
Let's get into the best part about War Priest. Unlike a cleric who is dependent on their wisdom and their charisma for their fucking channels, War Priest is just wisdom. They can dump charisma and still be okay.
True. They do solve the issue of divine casters with their channeling, and they're not quite so mutually ability dependent.
I mean, I hate that they fixed the Paladin from 3.5 to Pathfinder, but then they kind of left the cleric kind of screwed, and then they made War Priest, which is just arguably better cleric.
Wait, you hate that they made them less multiple ability dependent, or you like it?
No, like, I like that they did it, but I hate that they also didn't do it to the cleric.
Okay, so cleric and druid had that reputation of Codzilla, so I'm pretty sure they wanted to... I mean, they already nerfed spell duration, which made them Codzilla, but I suppose they wanted to hit them a little bit harder.
Yeah.
It would make sense. Yeah, clerics and druids back in 3.5, absolute menaces.
I mean, they're still menaces if you do them right.
Absolutely.
Well, they're still menaces, you just don't have that bull strength and all your buffs that lasted an hour per level.
Yeah, you're not Codzilla the entire day. You have to Codzilla right before a fight, and then you walk in and make the fight real sad that you walked in on it.
You don't pre-buff with an extend meta magic rod, and then you just buff for the day.
Yeah.
I kind of miss it, but I understand why they did it because it just free stats. So many free stats.
Absolutely. I mean, clearly the way you duplicate that is you play an alchemist, you get your buffs, you wear Numerian power armor, you have your buffs in the injectors, and then you just inject yourself with all of your buffs when walking up.
Oh yeah, Pathfinder has an artifact that's literally the a T51B power armor with auto injectors. Oh boy.
Let's start.
Too.
Yeah, let's not start talking about Numeria. That place is a little weird. It's gonna deserve its own video.
Absolutely, technological items will absolutely have their own videos.
My
Do you want the plasma annihilator? We got that. A black hole gun? We got that.
The fact that my mage for most of the campaign has been carrying around a black powder pistol and a fucking laser gun.
It is schizo. Numeria as the regional setting is schizotech as hell. But it is very fun.
Fighter!
Alright.
We love it.
Alright, let's start peeling together and wrapping up a bit. Does anyone have some closing thoughts here?
No, you mentioned the classes that I like, and I dumped the contents of my brain.
Yes, you did. You dumped Jack all over Shaman.
My closing thoughts? Arcanists. Dimensional slide. Don't overlook it.
Dimensional
That
slide
shit will
OP.
save you. It's dumb.
Okay, the thing about Dimensional Slide. It's a dimension door. Like effect. That doesn't count as conjuration teleportation.
Don't nerf it, because if it was Dimension Door, it would give you that teleportation, like, after Dimension Door, you can't do anything.
That's
it
also
doesn't
true.
have that either.
And it's part of your movement. You spend like 5 feet of your movement to just teleport, based on your class level, somewhere.
Yeah, and you can continue your movement after that, because it only uses 5 feet of it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't trigger attacks of opportunity, so if you're stuck with an enemy in your face, no you're not. I'm over here now.
Really hard to pin down.
Absolutely.
A really hard to pin down caster is the most terrifying of casters, being fair.
It's really hard to pin down.
And it can just immediate action counterspell you. So, man, Arcanists are just so good. You're
They
right.
are.
They're so good.
Yeah, they're pretty busted.
Let's talk about the infinite blood magic combo where we just
Let's talk
generate
about that in
spell
another
slots.
video.
But infinite hero points.
Goodbye, everybody!
Bye.
If you like what we do, click the like button, please. And if you want more, please subscribe. Bye!